Welcome back to Gibbo MMA, and it is a few hours have gone by. RDR gets a split decision win over Robert Whittaker. So that fight was on at probably about 7:30 a.m. Australian time on the East Coast, the main event. But I got up for the main card, which was at 5 a.m. and yeah, look, glad I got up for the main card. Didn't miss much on the prelims, so it's all good. I went back and watched the prelims, and yeah, had some good finishes on there. There was definitely one fight where I'd probably rather watch paint dry. So, but yeah, it's all good. Coffee's getting me through it. Um, but yeah, people are saying this decision was a bit controversial. Not a robbery, but um, I was leaning towards Reiner Derrida on the judges' scorecards. I'm not too unhappy with the decision, even though I'd like to see the Aussie get the win. I just thought, and I always say the optics of that offensive wrestling, the control time, will get you the win on the judges' scorecards in those close fights. So, but yeah, we got to see some questions answered with Derrida. He showed great grit. He was super big in there. He looked like a heavyweight and just was a giant in there compared to Whittaker. And you could just see Whittaker not wanting to get anywhere near close to RDR. And you could see that with the way he would blitz in and out with his jab, with the quick 1-2 Whittaker. But yeah, RDR very pleased and happy with the way he fought and proved a lot of us wrong. The doubts around his cardio. Like he still looked pretty laboured in there, but he did go the distance and he did it with Robert Whittaker, who I thought once it hit rounds 4 to 5, Whittaker would have the advantage, but Whittaker was clearly fatigued in there. Which brings me to why he was fatigued, and I think it was because of the damage he took and the explosivity he had to do to evade RDR's takedowns. Because RDR, those lethal knees up the middle were absolutely brutal and damaging, and Whittaker just, he didn't really have much answer for it. Every time RDR went for it, he would somewhat land with it, and he only had to pay the price once for it when Whittaker just came over with a flying overhand right and dropped him, which was a crucial part in the fight, which almost ended in a finish for Whittaker in the third round. But yeah, those knees, man, he's like a freight train. He just loads up on it and he's just like, and he commits to it. He doesn't half-ass it. He commits to it. He's long, so he's kind of coming in and grabbing you at the same time from that southpaw position, and then just lifts up that left knee straight into the body. And that's what he finished with against Bo Nickel. And it looked like he was going to get Rob out of there with it as well, but I think that's why Rob got so gassed in his later rounds. His body was just, took a lot of damage and was really labored, and he looked a bit more crumbled in there. And also, Whittaker, he did survive and end up on his back a few times, but the sprawl to get back up off the ground, as well as to get his back off the cage when he was pressed up against there, he used a lot of explosive energy to do that. And I think that contributed to why he was really gassed in there. As well as in that third round, he put everything out on the table to finish RDR when he was on the ground, when he dropped him. And when he didn't do that, geez, he slowed down dramatically. And those fourth and fifth rounds definitely showed it, because he wasn't dishing out much at all. It was pretty much evading RDR. He didn't want to be anywhere near him because of the just how big he is, and once he gets a hold of you, that's the end of it. So the judges, they had Whittaker winning the first round, RDR the second round, and then Whittaker the third round where he got that drop, and then two judges gave RDR the fourth round. That was a bit of a slow-paced round. I haven't rewatched the fight, but not much volume activity in that one. And then I thought RDR won the fourth round, but I thought the fifth round was really close. But they all gave it to RDR. But again, the grappling, the control clinch against the cage will win you the round on the optics if you don't do enough damage. And I think that's where the judges were at with that. They just thought, Robert was landing some good jabs. Every time he landed, you could see RDR, like you could see it really affect him, and it showed with his body language. But other than that, Whittaker was so gassed after that third. That's all he was dishing out there was, all he was doing was the jab, and then he'd try and do a 1-2, and then he was just defending the takedown or the clinch. And yeah, I think he definitely, when he goes back and re-watches it, definitely let that slip away. He for sure could have easily won that fight. It's pretty 50-50. People say he did win it, but yeah, tough scenes, tough scenes. So the first round, they come out, and I'll tell you what, there was a weird stalemate moment where RDR had a grab of his wrist and his arm, and and Whittaker they just stood there circling around waiting for someone to make the next move or a mistake, and it just showed you the strength and power of RDR when he grabs a hold of you, because he was almost not manhandling, but he just had one limb, and Whittaker knew, like, I could easily get tripped here, or tossed or whatever, and he was really careful. But it showed you, like, I've never seen Whittaker in that scenario before, where someone just has a grab of his arm and he's just like stuck, and just he did well. After, because it was probably like 45 seconds they were in that position for. Real tense moment, and this fight was really tense. Really enjoyed the fight, back and forths. Whittaker almost got finished, not almost, but like had moments where he looked like he was on the way out with those knees, and RDR was landing good jabs when he did throw it because of his reach. But yeah, because I had Whittaker winning by TKO, and he pretty much almost had it. He pretty much almost flatlined RDR, but hats off to RDR. He weathered the storm. He just got his composure back on the ground. And one thing I did see was something with Whittaker's corner and the coaching. The only words I heard, and this is comparing to other coaches you hear with, I don't know these coaches, I don't know how long they've been with them, I don't know who they are, but the only words I heard in that corner was, let's fucking go. You've got to move, keep moving, a little bit more movement. And then he's fucked, he's tired, he's cooked. That was all I heard from the corner over the 5 rounds. And you could hear the guy during the fight yelling at Rob, just let's go, I didn't hear any technical sound advice for Whittaker. And I'm just assuming here, maybe, and I just know how smart Whittaker is, maybe it looked like he knew what he wanted to do in there. He didn't need much guidance, like he was making a sort of adjustments through the fight. But I think obviously because he was damaged and tired, he just couldn't do it. Like he knew what he needed to do, but he just couldn't. That's what I'm trying to make an assumption of, what the coaching that he was getting was just almost like a little bit of a hype man. because I didn't hear one technical sound coaching advice at all from that corner. Yeah, there wasn't anything like circle to the left and get out of the way of that his knee coming down the middle. There wasn't anything around. If you see that knee coming, instantly throw the overhand right, because you get there first. Your right hand will get there first before the knee or something. Like, there wasn't anything around that or yeah. So that I do question, maybe, if there was one or two things he maybe could have done differently in this fight. He could have won it. Like, he didn't throw any of those high kicks, any low kicks. I have to check the stats, but he didn't throw any kicks. I believe that was in the game plan, maybe because you don't want to give RDR a chance to take you down by grabbing the leg. So if he's throwing a high kick, he's out of, he can end up out of position and get taken down. But yeah, because there were no kicks on RDR. Like, that lead leg of RDR's was right there to pepper. No kicks thrown. Because RDR was southpaw, usually with Whittaker being in that orthodox position, he could have thrown that right body kick straight into him. None of that. Just maybe he didn't want to get a position where he gets caught and then the opportunity to get taken down. Yeah, it was mainly a jab and a 1-2 from Whittaker for the whole fight, and nothing really changed from that. Yeah, so I'm just trying to see some stats here. Around where the kicks will land, if there were any kicks there, and I can't find any just yet. But yeah, it was just a jab and a 1-2 the whole fight from Whittaker mainly, and then he was just defending takedowns, which he did really well in, and I think he was saving his energy just for those moments, because he didn't get submitted. That was the biggest danger in this fight for Whittaker, was getting submitted, and he did survive that. And RDR in the post-fight presser did say, I thought I was going to be able to get in there and submit him. And yeah, it ended up going to the decision. So yeah, again, all around, it was a great fight, real tense, on edge, could have gone either way. RDR, I had doubts around his cardio, but I think his damage really I've never seen Whittaker that labored before, because I thought, if it goes 4-5, Whittaker for sure will take it home and just run him down. But I think his body, he's just got gas from the knees. So well done to RDR, because he also was putting Whittaker on the back foot, which was really impressive. So what's next for these guys? What's next for RDR? He was calling for the winner of Dracus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, who fight in the next pay-per-view event in August. He was calling for that, which is really smart. Him versus DDP would be a really fun fight, because RDR will now go from 13th to rank 5. He'll take Whittaker's spot there. Sean Strickland will be suspended. Not sure how long for, because he jumped in the cage and threw some punches at a regional event. You got Israel Adesanya there, but I don't want to see that. That might be the fight, but yeah, RDR's in a good spot right now. Whittaker, man, he still looked good in there. Like, you could say he won that fight, and he could be the guy for a title shot, but it didn't go his way, and now he's probably going to get ranked, probably get bumped down to 6 or 7 or 8. He might get bumped down a bit. But yeah, I think he needs to regroup. A lot of the middleweights are booked right now. Sean Strickland was probably the fight to make. If he probably had a 1, maybe if he still lost, you could still book him. Don't want to see him versus Adesanya again. We've seen that twice. They're kind of mates now, and yeah, I don't. It's gonna go the same way, decision either way. But yeah, what do you think, RDR and Whitaker? What's next for them? But yeah, again, great fight, and it went not exactly, but it real like what we saw was what I talked about in the preview with Whitaker getting that TKO. He was so close. He literally shook him, dropped him hard, but just couldn't get him out of there. And he really tried. He emptied pretty much the gas tank on him with it. Or he would win by decision, Whitaker, I thought. And he didn't. He got, you know, got the split decision, didn't go his way. So RDR, he definitely proved me wrong with his cardio. I thought his only path to victory was that submission, so well done to RDR. And yeah, you can definitely see him training out of Kill Cliff down in Florida, making that switch. He's grown a lot as a fighter and getting better. And yeah, definitely showed tonight beating someone in Robert Whitaker. All right, let's get to the co-main. I was very much looking forward to this. Peter Yan versus Marcus McGee. And this pretty much went exactly how I thought, minus leg kicks. So Peter Yan gets a 29-28 decision win. So yeah, look like I haven't seen the official scorecards, but I had Marcus winning the first and then Yan just taking over in the second and third and winning it that way, which seemed to be the case. I'm just going to find the official scorecards now. Let's see, here we go. So yeah, they all gave Marcus McGee, which was a really close first round. They gave Marcus the first, and then Peter Yan 2 and 3. So that's exactly what I said in the preview. Peter Yan starts a little bit slower, but it's for good reason, just to figure out what he's going to implement he wants to get a good look at what he's dealing with, and then he'll come firing out in the second and third, and that's exactly what he did. Real tight, Muay Thai in the boxing guard. Just, rolled with the punches off the glove and scored really well. Every time he landed, Marcus McGee's head really went flying back. I thought he was going to do some more leg kicks on Marcus McGee. He did land a couple. I'm just wondering if he kind of injured his foot. I'm not too sure. I'm wondering if he maybe got checked on one and kind of maybe got a bruise to his foot or shin, because he didn't throw he threw maybe 5 leg kicks the whole fight. I thought he would have thrown triple that, because it was there for the taking, but it felt like he was holding back. I'm just wondering if he had an injury on that leg or something, because it was pretty clear blueprint, as mentioned in the preview, to attack that lead leg. But again, Yanni's calling for the title shot, winner of Marab versus Sandhagen, because he's got a win over Sandhagen and a loss over Marab. But yeah, I think he's next in line now. Well done to Marcus to essentially go from, I think he was ranked 12, just looking. Yeah, ranked 12 and fought the number 3 guy. So great step up in competition for him. He looked great in there. He didn't look out of place at all. He won the first round, and if it was a 5-round fight, I think it was just going to keep going that way. I think it would have been a Yan 49-46 win. I don't think he would have finished. I know it was getting to it. He did get some good combos on Marcus, but he was really tough. Marcus is really tough. So yeah, great technical fight. I was really looking forward to seeing how it played out. If I was going to get proven wrong, if Yan was going to get, knocked out. But yeah, pretty much it went exactly. Gave up the first round and then came out and just hit him with the more technical and volume punches. So not a lot of whole power behind it, but I said it was going to be, I put moderate for Yan. I had this matchup labeled as so high volume and moderate power in Yan versus medium volume, high power in Marcus. And yeah, that's pretty much what we got as far as the output and power in that fight. Yeah, not too much more about that. So All right, we're going. I'll get into the bonuses. So in the preview, I did, I do my, guess. I try and guess the bonuses. So I had fight of the night was Shara Bullet versus Marc Andre Barriol, and got that right. That was the fight of the night. Great back and forth fight. Um, Shara Bullet he really got to do what he wanted in there as far as the stand up and kicks. He just got to throw kicks whenever he wanted. But Mark, he was a big underdog on this card, and I'm pretty sure he broke Shara's nose. He got a clean, I think it was a right hand, and just crushed his face. Like you could see Shara's nose off center. And yeah, he almost got Shara out of that one. It looked like at one point he was going to get him out of there, and then Shara came back. Great work in the clinch, Shara. Great knees, a lot of great knees and elbows. And I did say Mark needed to make this fight dirty, and he did. Like he did really well. There was a moment where he was and could have won the fight because he really rocked Shara, but he got rocked. He was really tough. He took a lot of damage on the lead leg. But yeah, it was yeah, a great fight, and yeah, got fight of the night. So yeah, well done to those guys. An extra 50K each on their purse. And then the other bonus I thought would go to Bogdan Guskov. And I felt hard done by because he went in there and completely rocked Nikita Krylov in the first round. Um, yeah, completely shut him down. And I was very surprised Bogdan was the underdog. So I think he was paying $2.45 or something and $4 for a knockout. So I only saw it going one way, which I said in the preview was Bogdan's just going to have a great, electric knockout. And yeah, that's what happened. But he didn't get a bonus. Didn't get a bonus. The other, so I got that wrong. And I thought Bachecha in the heavyweight fight, the first fight of the night, was going to get a bonus. I thought he was going to go in there and get a submission. Didn't play out that way. So yeah, the other bonuses went to, just get it up here. It was Muslim Salikov with a crazy first round finish, knockout over Carlos Leo. Obliterated him into the stratosphere. He's like 41 years old, Muslim Salikov, so well done to him. He gets a knockout and the performance bonus. And the other bonus went to Stephen Nguyen. He got like 6 knockdowns. 6 or 7 knockdowns. So he has like the most knockdowns in UFC history in a fight. So, and that was against Muhammad Yaha. We'll get to that fight shortly. So he got the other bonus. So we got one right in guessing the bonuses. So we did Shara, so up to Asu Amabayev versus Jose Ochoa. Yeah, that went pretty much, again, flyweights, real speedy, fast, 3-round decision fight. Asu Amabayev gets back in the win column. Yeah, just a lot of grappling exchanges. Some punches landed, but yeah, nothing too crazy. Pretty much a flyweight fight. Just a lot of quick, speedy, low power punches and a lot of grappling exchanges. So yeah, well done to Asu. He had Shavkat Rakhmonov in his corner, walk out with him. That's pretty cool. Watching them walk out, Shavkat had the flag, and you could see everyone's eyes just on him. They weren't even looking at Asu Amabayev. So pretty keen to see Shavkat get back in the octagon. And then, yeah, Bogdan Guskov got that first round win. And then moving on to the prelims, I'll skip through. Bryce Mitchell moved down to bantamweight for the first time, got the decision win over Said Nurmagomedov. You didn't miss much again on this fight, just a lot of grappling exchanges. Bryce Mitchell did take a knee. He copped a good knee, got dropped in the first round or something, but recovered. But again, just very much of a crotch sniffing sort of a fight. Nothing nothing too crazy there. And then Muslim Salikov, yeah, first round knockout, performance bonus. Davy Grant versus Damon Blackshear, 3-round fight. Davy Grant gets a decision win. Yeah, again, nothing. I said in the preview, like, you don't need to be wasting your time, or you got to watch every fight, or just because UFC are putting it on. And yeah, because I went back and rewatched this, but I didn't watch these live because yeah, I just knew it wasn't going to be too exciting of a matchups, nothing too big on the line. There was some finishes, but you know, you didn't miss out on anything. Like Tabitha Ricci versus Amanda Ribas. You thought that was going to go to the decision. It looked like it, because in that first round, like, they had to get separated off the cage. Like, they were just clinching and just doing the hiya jabs against each other. Like, it wasn't much doing, but Ricci got back in that position and landed this sort of like an upright, sort of funky elbow directly in Amanda's eye, and she just started shutting down, and then Tabitha got the TKO and just piled it on her and got the win. So well done to her. Good to see a finish in the women's division, strawweight division. Yeah, Amanda Ribas, I think she's coming off back-to-back losses now, because she lost at the start of the year, if my memory serves correct, against Mackenzie Dern, main event. Yeah, start of the year in January, first card of the year, via armbar. So back-to-back losses via finish for Amanda. Well done to Tabitha Ricci with that TKO win. Great elbow to the eye. It looked like it just really disturbed Amanda, and her body, yeah, just shut down. So, and then we move on to Billy Elakina versus Ibo Aslan. And this fight is exactly why I was saying in the preview and moving forward, why don't waste your time on bullshit fights that play out like this. Don't waste, go live your lives. Just because it's a UFC fight doesn't mean it's going to be fireworks. This looked like it belonged on the regional scene. It was like, there's sparring, like, there'd be sparring footage or sparring training sessions that would shit on this and make this look like a freaking warm up, essentially, this fight. I started having to skip. I was like, I'm not even wasting my time watching this full fight after the fact. I had to slowly skip through, because all it was they were just like touching lead hands, and then just bub up 1-2, and that was it. Little calf kick, little kick to the thigh, and then they were smiling and talking, and I'm like, have these guys just agreed to just go, hey, I mean, they're probably on 10-10, like, hey, let's get our show money at least. And this is exactly why, in my if I were president for one day in the UFC, I would change the purses to just a flat rate show, and then incentivize finishes, because this is exactly what you get when you have a show and win. And if it's 10-10 or 15-15, they're just gonna, if you like, it looked like they were just doing the bare minimum in this fight. So Billy Elakina essentially got to do a light sparring session and got to show and win money for a light sparring session. Like, that's essentially what it was. And I would not watch this fight ever again. But the learnings from this fight just showed you, like, why UFC do pay so low sometimes. Because these guys did not earn what, like, if it's 10-10 or 15-15K paycheck. Like, very much respect that they get in there and everything, but as far as, you see other fighters go to war over 3 rounds, and one guy will only get their show money. Whereas this was not a war at all, and Ibo Aslan got his show money and got fucking no damage at all. He could go fight tomorrow or next week. Like, he is still in crisp condition. He didn't cop any damage. And he got the loss, and he was surprised he got the loss. And I thought that was fucking stupid because he did nothing in that fight. And for you to be surprised you lost, yeah, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and hopefully your coaches are giving you an honest opinion, and hopefully the matchmakers, and hopefully you ask the matchmakers why, and hopefully they rip into him. If you keep doing that, you're going to get cut. These fights is what gets you cut from the UFC, and what makes fans not pay attention to your fights or the UFC. And it's on the prelims for that reason. And these guys will be back in the apex. They'll be getting shitty matchups next. They won't be getting any favorable matchups. The only incentive to do the fight like that is to just come out of there with no damage. So that's what happened. They didn't get really any damage. One guy got an easy paycheck, but his next fight, Billy Elakina, watch out, man. Your next fight, you're going to be getting some absolute dog. Some guy who's coming off on a streak of knockouts. Because, yeah, that was pretty disappointing, that fight. And I feel sorry for the fans that paid all that money to have to sit through that. So there were a lot of boos as well throughout that fight. Then we move on to the next guy. Stephen the Goon gets officially a doctor stoppage over Muhammad Yahya. Yeah, there was 6 knockdowns. I'd say 7. They counted one as a slip. Jason Herzog was the ref. At the end of the fight, Muhammad, his eye was swollen shut. It was a water balloon. It was nasty, and could have been completely avoided if they had just stopped the fight in the first round after he already got knocked down 3 or 4 times in the first round. I think he came back a little bit, Muhammad. He was really tough, too tough for his own good, but the refs in there to protect him. And at the end of the first round, Muhammad, had to get up, and he's wobbling back to his stool. And I was just like, just stop it. He's going to go back out there. He did land a couple of shots on Steven, but you just know. This guy's concussed. He probably doesn't remember anything about that fight. He will rewatch that fight and won't even remember much happening. Yeah, I thought he was put in a really dangerous position because you've got to protect the fighters from themselves. Because he showed a lot of heart, but it could hit that. Because apparently there was no fracture or anything, just swelling. But sounds like he got off scot-free because he could have ended up with some permanent damage after. By the way it looked, I thought he was going to end up with some bad damage. But it was just really bad swelling. Bad damage, but I thought he was gonna, fractured orbital or something, and then you're out for ages, and could have just been completely avoided if it was stopped. You just could clearly see he's just gonna keep getting knocked down, and in that fight, Steven now has the most knockdowns in UFC in a fight, and yeah, even the corners, you don't really throw towels in the UFC, but even the corners shouldn't have let him continue. That guy wasn't there on the stool. Yeah. Jason, by the book, Jason Herzog did ref it correctly because, yeah, he was getting dropped and defending himself, but when you're getting, there shouldn't be 6 or 7 knockdowns over the span of 2 rounds, especially in the first round. Yeah, pretty tough scenes there to have to watch someone go through that. I think the ref really needs to protect the fighter a lot more in that situation. It's not a title fight. You've seen title fights get stopped for way less. So I don't see why there's any reason why that couldn't have gotten stopped. But yeah, and then the first fight of the night, Martin Budau gets a decision win over Marcus Buchecha. Buchecha made his UFC debut, Brazilian black belt, AD world champ or something. I thought he was going to go in there and get a first round maybe submission just for the idea of it. I thought it sounded fun, but yeah, just can clearly see the one-dimensional Well, it's weird because he's pretty one-dimensional with his jiu-jitsu. He's still fairly new to MMA and to mix it in, but then you got RDR, who's yeah, again that jiu-jitsu, but he's got that judo as well, and he's been fighting for MMA a lot longer and slowly transitioning to being one-dimensional. But yeah, Pachecha, you'd think in the heavyweight division you could probably get it off, but um, yeah, it's hard to keep a hold of when there's no gi and they're all slippery. Whereas like yeah, in BJJ you got the gi and you can just grab onto them a lot easier. Whereas yeah, in a fight you're getting punched and you're sweaty and slippery and it's hard to keep a hold of these guys. And there was plenty of times where he could have got his hooks in, but just decided he wouldn't, and he was just throwing punches, which is good. But yeah, he had some dominant positions in the rounds. But Martin, he's a black belt himself, and that really helped him in this fight to defend the takedowns and not get submitted. So yeah, that's UFC Abu Dhabi, and pretty much as far as how I was saying in the preview, yeah, like not disappointed and not overly didn't it didn't over exceed my expectations as far as entertainment and how the fights would go. Um, yeah, RDR and the Whitaker, how that fight played out when it was pretty much it's going to go either way. As far as RDR split decision wasn't on my bingo card, but the way the fight went, there was moments where RDR was near a submission, and then uh, Whitaker having his moment of almost knocking RDR out. And yeah, and what I didn't expect was how Whitaker was going to be so gassed in that fight, but I believe it was from the damaging knees and the explosivity he had to use from defending the takedowns. So yeah, that was good to see that fight play out a little bit differently and go the 5 rounds. And we got to see more of RDR, which is good. And yeah, really enjoyed the main event, the co-main. The Shara fight was fun. Just keep giving Shara those matchups, fun fights. But yeah, in some other news, what else? As far as non-MMA stuff, we had the rugby union Wallabies versus British and Irish Lions last night, and so that's the British and Irish Lions. They tour to Australia every 12 years. They do a 3-match series. So they won last week, which I talked about, and then they won last night in a close, controversial game. The Wallabies, Australia, were winning. We could have gone to a decider, but we ended up losing. They scored in the last minute. There was a controversial call as regard to a high foul play tackle at the end. They reviewed it and said, no, it's all good. The try stands. So Australia's up in arms a bit. Is what it is. So got to wait till. So they're playing game 3 next weekend, but the British and Irish Lions reign supreme again because they beat us back in 2013 here, and now again. So we have to wait until 2037 for this fight. I mean, for the tour to try and win back, to try and beat them. So 2037 is when they will tour down under again, and yeah, we were winning. We're up like 13 points at one stage, or 14 points. It was like 23-10 or something. And yeah, it was a great game. Yeah, just tough scenes when you have to come to the realization. It's like, oh, all right, there's next year. No, you got to wait a whole 12 years to get redemption. So the British and Irish Lions, they're made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. So they make a team. They combine together and they're called the British and Irish Lions, and they tour New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa. So every 4 years, the British and Irish Lions tour to the other nations. So in 4 years' time, I think they'll be playing. I think they're due to play South Africa, and then 4 years after that, they'll play New Zealand. And in 4 years in 2037, they will verse us again. So yeah, you don't get that in American sports. You just yeah, America doesn't have too many like national you like basketball. Like America is fucking shit in their national what national teams do they have outside of basketball? Like they're like soccer. Shit. What else? Rugby, shit. Rugby league, shit. Um, yeah, like any as far as like big World Cup tournament team sports, America, they really just sniff their own farts. Like they just choose a sports that no one else plays and call themselves world champions. World Series baseball, world champions. I know Japan play baseball. Australia a little bit, but like no one else. No one else is really playing baseball on that level as far as like in an international sense. Like where are the international teams? Where's the big World Cup? Like and then American football, the NFL, like no, there's no international game for that. Like it's just you guys, but you know, you're world champions. So, whereas that's what's cool about, you know, in Australia, we have a lot of international teams. We're not necessarily the best, but it's at least we got teams to go for and we're somewhat good. Like rugby, like we've won 2 World Cups in rugby union. Rugby league, I mean, we're the most successful team in rugby league. We're really dominant in that. We've won a bunch of World Cups, you know, international tests, we dominate. But yeah, soccer, you know, we always make the World Cup just. We've made it to the quarters, I think, in the World Cup 2006 was when we did pretty well in it. The last World Cup, we made it to the round of 16. Like we got to versus Argentina, who ended up winning it. I don't know where America was. I don't even think they made the World Cup. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like with the union, back to the union. Like every 12 years, we play the British and Irish Lions. Like that's pretty cool. Um, what we have on an international level of sport. And then as far as like we versus New Zealand, the All Blacks every year for the Bledisloe Cup, which we haven't won in over 20 years. But we also have plenty of the Rugby Championship against Argentina, South Africa, New Zealand that we play in every year. So yeah, like as far as international sports, Australia's like really underrated and like we get to follow a lot of sports. Like it's a big sporting country and it's only getting bigger. And we're still only a young country, still developing in the sports sense. Because yeah, we're still trying to get that infrastructure and development program and more funding into it. But you know, in the Olympics we did really well. We only have 26 million people here. 26. America has over 300 million. And like I think we do the best per capita in the world in sports essentially. So, yeah, a bit of non-MMA stuff, but yeah, the rugby, very much love it. And I keep saying rugby or rugby league, great base for MMA because you're doing a lot of running, a lot of tackling, real physical, real strategic and technical game. You need good technique and athleticism, and that can translate really well into MMA. And so, yeah, but I just don't think I have much else to review. Abu Dhabi. Let me know your thoughts on the card. Comment, your thoughts on the fight. Do you agree with the main event decision? Do you think it should have gone Robert Whittaker's way? But yeah, appreciate the support. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that. Follow the socials, Gibbo MMA on Insta and TikTok, Facebook. But yeah, be sure, leave a comment. I want to hear your thoughts. Next week we move on to a bit of a tough period of the UFC. Next few weeks we got Al-Bazi versus Tatsu Taira. We're back in the Apex. Amir Al-Bazi versus Tatsu Taira. It's going to be, back to a real Apexy card next week. And then after that, we got Delize versus Hernandez. And then the week after, so August 17th, Duplessis versus Chimaev. So not a sort of not a rough, but a bit of a lull the next couple of weeks. So I'll try my best to stay enthused with the content on the channel here, because yeah, it's looking a little bit rough the next couple of weeks. But that's the UFC, the ebbs and flows of these cards, because they got to meet their contract with ESPN and dish out all these nothing fights, but lower levels. So is what it is. But yeah, thanks guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and week, and I'll be speaking to you again soon. Have a good one.